All right. Welcome to the Ultra High Net Worth Clients Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Broadhead. We started this podcast as a way to create a central resource of the best financial advisor practice growing tips shared by the most outstanding advisors in the industry, of which our guest today is definitely one. These outstanding financial advisors agree to be on the show and provide a ton of value for free, all in the hopes that our audience might learn from their words. My father was a financial advisor, and advisors are the main client we serve. So, my marketing agency's mission is to help every financial advisor grow their business in an effort to help the world become more financially secure. Today, we have the rare pleasure of talking with an incredible financial advisor, Ross Mannino. Ross, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Hey, thanks, Chris, for having me in this format. Appreciate it. And so my name's Ross Mannino. I'm with Ameriprise Financial. I've been with the firm for approximately since 2008. Ameriprise came along and bought my previous firm. I've been an advisor since 1991. Passed my Series 7 at 19 years old, and so I'm 52 years old right now. So I've been an advisor, being 52 years old, I've been an advisor for 33 years.
Oh, wow.
Definitely a seasoned veteran, been through a lot. So the business has changed dramatically over those 33 years from when I first started till now. But so I run a team. Name of my team is Wealth Planning Strategies. We are a 4-person team. I am the lead advisor. We have my junior advisor, Matthew Smith, Phyllis Hoops, and Kim DeJana. So together, we manage about $780 million in assets at the peak last year. And we've been pretty successful at what we do, thanks to our clients and trusting us with their retirement assets. So we've been on the Forbes list, the Forbes Best in State, for the last 5 years. And we were just named to one of Forbes Best in State teams, number 98 in Connecticut, for 2025. So that was pretty excited about that, but it's a team effort.
Awesome. And that's a testament to how hard you guys work and how well you work together. So that's great. So normally I like to start at the beginning, and your beginning sounds very early. 19. I think that's a new record for the show, and we've interviewed over 100 advisors, so that's saying something. Can you talk about how you found yourself in this industry at such a ripe young age?
If you've ever seen the movie Wall Street, that inspired me in the 80s. When I was in high school, I was probably 16 years old when that movie came out. And I thought, hey, that's exactly what I want to do. If I can do it the right way, not the way Bud Fox cut corners, but towards the end, he saw the light. And so that really inspired me. In fact, in my house, in my pool room, I have the movie poster, the premiere poster of Wall Street there to remind me of, why I came into this business. So I went to college, right out of high school. My first year, I did an internship for a brokerage firm. And at the end of that summer, they said, hey, you don't need college. You don't need a 4-year degree to we'll sponsor you for your Series 7. I was like, really? All right, great. My parents really couldn't afford the college, very expensive, and grew up from modest beginnings. And so at that point, I convinced my parents to let me work during the day and go to school at night, which I did. So, and that was tough. I would cold call 10, 12 hours a day. And at 6 o'clock, go over to school and do classes from 6 to 10. I eventually did graduate, got my bachelor's degree, and that was it. I was off and running. I realized early on, I started learning the business, and back in the early 90s, you could get sucked in by money, but if you put money aside and realize what you wanted to do long term. So there's a couple of mentors that I would thank along the way of my career, probably 4 or 5 mentors that really guided me in the right direction and gave me opportunities. And so I moved probably four. This is my fifth firm, but in reality, the name on the door has changed 3 times. So it's really my third firm that I came to, and I never left. And like I said, I had some mentors along the way that inspired me, and the business has changed dramatically. We started off cold calling. You obviously can't do that anymore. So, there's different ways of building this. So, worked for a firm all throughout the 90s. In 2000, it was bought out by another company. And in '08, Ameriprise came and bought the company. And I've basically been sitting in the chair since 1995. So,
Wow. As someone that worked full time and went to school at night uh for just under 2 years, I can say that that is not a fun way to live. And it sounds like you did that for even longer.
it
And at a
probably,
younger age. Yeah.
yeah, it definitely took a lot more time. It took me about 5 or 6 years to graduate, but I finally was able to deliver my bachelor's degree to my dad and told him I wanted a keg party.
That's it.
At the ripe age of like 26 or 27 or whatever it was.
There you go. Hey, whatever motivates you. What's more
Exactly.
motivating than
Exactly. So they were proud of me.
yeah, that's really that's impressive. That is doing either of those by themselves is more than hard enough, but to do them both at the
Yeah.
same time, I think is tough. That's awesome. So, all right, so you started in the business at 19. You did the internship. They sponsored your Series 7, I think you said, and so 19, you probably looked like a high schooler even at that
Yep.
age. Were you able to actually start finding your own clients then, or were you just kind of supporting a mentor, or what did that look like?
Yeah, that's exactly the way it worked. You were a cold caller for a while, and you had to get your leads while you were studying for your Series 7. So in addition to going, cold calling during the day, um, going to school at night, Saturdays and Sundays, I was studying for my Series 7. Back up 19 years old, I really didn't know too much about finance, and school
Hmm.
really wasn't teaching what was on that Series 7. So it was definitely a challenge. So I probably worked for a mentor from 1991 to 94, where once I passed my Series 7, you were an account opener, and you kind of worked under an advisor, opening accounts, and you had to give up those accounts to your senior advisor, but you managed the book and basically client service at that point. Um,
Hmm.
and being extremely young, so there came a point where I wanted to move on to another firm, and I got an opportunity. Another mentor of mine that I would say really gave me a great opportunity was I worked for a company down on Wall Street, number 2 Wall Street, and we focused in on the fixed income markets. So that was my first in 1994. My first at 22 years old was my first experience running my own book, and we basically sold municipal bonds, government bonds, but I learned a lot. In that 2 years that I was there, it was tremendous. The bond markets teach you a lot more than the stock markets. Um, but after 2 years, I realized that I wanted to do more advisory where, not every client should be 100% in bonds. Not every client should be 100% in stocks. So I needed a firm that would bring that all together. And that's when I came to my third firm in 1990, latter part of 95, and that's where I've been ever since.
Hmm. It's kind of mind-boggling to think of a firm that only offered stocks or bonds
Correct. Exactly.
like today.
Yeah, and when I
Yeah.
came to the firm, to this firm, we did stocks and bonds, and a lot of people here were just stock jockeys. They didn't understand the bond market, so I quickly elevated to the top of the heap. In fact, they promoted me to be a branch manager, and I moved to Greenwich, Connecticut, where I managed a branch at 25 years old.
Wow. Okay. Um, I've heard my dad's story enough times, and he got his Series 7, I want to say at like 25 or 26. And then he tried to work, and they're like, you're too young. No one's gonna buy from you to get the traction that it sounds like he got.
I would say determination. I mean, without a doubt, it was determination. I knew where I wanted to go. I knew what I wanted to do, and given enough opportunity and hitching myself to the right mentor, I think is you know is extremely important that you focus in on where you want to go, and have a vision. You have to have a vision. If you don't have a vision, then you're absolutely going nowhere. So have a vision of what your career should look like. And yes, I was extremely young. I was 25 years old. So how do I make up for that? Knowledge. Um, I read Barron's cover to cover. That's when it was still in print. Nothing was more exciting than going to the store on a Saturday morning and picking up a fresh copy of Barron's and reading that cover to cover. So, reading Barron's cover to cover, reading the Wall Street Journal every morning, getting into the office at 7 a.m., reading the Wall Street Journal cover to cover, then talking to clients. You're young, all of a sudden you open your mouth and they're like, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. So I
Mhm.
was able to really build a book like that. So what I lacked, or I didn't have the self-confidence of age, but I had the self-confidence of knowledge. And I went into every meeting armed with information to give to clients. And that was appreciative. And that my book just built. Um I read a lot of sales books. So that's one of the things with management. Management back then, you were more of a sales manager than today. Managers are more of just box checkers and compliance officers. But back then, you were more of a sales manager, and that was awesome. It was what I loved to do. So inspiring advisors and also inspiring myself.
Mhm. Awesome. Awesome. So, your first two firms you were with, it sounds like you were more in support of
Yep.
your mentor, the senior advisor, and then third firm, you're 25, you're going off on your own. At that firm, did you start at zero? Did you go over there with no clients, or did you bring some over with you, or how did you start?
So that's when I moved up to Greenwich, Connecticut. They asked me to manage this branch. And growing up you know, from modest means, coming to Greenwich, Connecticut, you realize the massive wealth that is here. So it was a small branch, maybe a few million in assets, not very much. And they were just trying to build it. So they said, I think it was like maybe $2 or $3 million in assets, not a whole lot of money. Just build it. Um, the firm did a lot of advertising. Clients called in, and just a referral process. So I would cold call. So 2 nights a week we worked till 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, cold calling. Saturday mornings we switched off. I'd work from like 9 to 12 on Saturdays, maybe 9 to 2 on Saturdays, cold calling. So it was really just working 60 hours a week was, par for the course. That was,
Wow.
if you left at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, an advisor in the office had left, you'd be like, oh, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Or is it day half dated? So that's the environment that I grew up in this
Mhm.
business was, you work hard. And that was just putting in the hours. The more hours you put in, the more you educated yourself, um, and the more you motivated yourself, you really got to that next level.
Mhm. Wow. Okay. So it was just sheer will to
Yep.
build your practice. That's impressive. Um okay, awesome. So, you're working your tail off. You're also managing the branch. You're cold calling. Was cold calling kind of the main source of new business? I mean, your firm was advertising as well. Yeah. Yeah.
firm is advertising. I'm cold calling. We're also asking for referrals. So we're building our business in three. We did a couple of seminars that we would invite clients to, get a speaker in there, and do dinner events and things like that. So, but it was mostly okay. So how did you get people to come to those events? Is you'd cold call to get them to come to the event, send them an invitation. So it really was a numbers game. More people you got in contact with, the more you brought in, and then I think I always one of the sayings I grew up with was, um, "Big money smells a rookie broker." So you
Mhm,
really, clients give you a shot, and if you perform, more money comes in as they
mhm,
trust you, and as you build that trust and that integrity, um, honesty, integrity, and trust, you know, more money. Clients that you thought only had $100,000 or all of a sudden had $1 million,
mhm,
a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road. Some of my most affluent clients today, started out as tiny, tiny accounts.
mhm,
And I look back and I look at that book of business that I've had clients now for 25, 30 years. I'm dealing with third generations. In one case, I have a fourth generation.
wow, wow,
So over 30 years, I was dealing with the client that was 75, 80 years old, um, then dealt with his son, and now I have a 529 plan for the great grandchild.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
it's an incredible um, feeling. I've educated children, put it that way. I've educated more children that are not my own.
yeah. Well, that's a beautiful thing to give to the world. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Would you say the education is key to multi-generational clients?
Well, now when you look at information, everybody has it at their fingertips, right? And with
Mhm,
AI coming along, so I describe how I built in the '90s. Okay, 2000 comes along, and you've got do not call lists, you've got all this other stuff. You cannot build a business that way. So
mhm,
by 2005, started a family of my own. Married to my childhood sweetheart, high school sweetheart. Here I am plugging away, and management was getting in the way of me building my book. So I said, okay, well, again, refocus my goals. What do I want? I want to, you know what? I love this business. What do I love about this business? Is sitting with people, solving their problems, helping them um, get through the issues that they have on kitchen table. And I said, that's it. I went into my regional manager's office. I said, look, I want to go get my certified financial planning license, my CFP. And at that point, I already had my 7, 8, 24, 63, 65. So here I am. I'm like, all right, I want to get my CFP. I just want to manage money for clients. I want to manage their affairs. So he said, that's great. You've done a great job. I appreciate it. Go out and hire yourself a manager. I was like, great. So I hired somebody to come in and said, I hired my own manager. So
mhm,
the guy came in and um, took over the office responsibilities, and I was able to just focus in on my business. And I would say from 2005, 6, we exploded to the upside. Matthew Smith came aboard um, in 2008. So he's been with me. He's going on 17 years. Right out of college, here's a guy right out of college, sits down. I was looking, now you got to start building a team. When you get to a certain level, you can work 60, 70 hours a week to a certain level. When you get to that level, level two, I call it, you've got to now build out a team. And that's what we did, and start to do things a little bit differently. So what
mhm,
got you here is not going to get you the rest of the way. So you constantly have to reinvent yourself, reset your goals, So now I'm like, okay, let's start building a team. Matthew came aboard right out of college, 30 seconds in. I could see the integrity he had, the honesty, just a great young a young man. And I said, look, you got to be on my team. What's going to take? And so he came aboard, and 17 years later, he's a junior on the team and owns a piece of the business, and we're crushing it. And you start to build out that team. Got my CFP. We're doing more financial planning. So now it's different. The business is a lot different than it was back in the 90s and even the early 2000s. I mean, we had the 2000 tech wreck, then you've got the financial crisis, and then you've got, COVID. And, been seasoned a few times.
That is for sure. That's really interesting. I like your concept of a level one firm to a level two firm.
Yeah.
Can you talk for any of our listeners who are, currently in a level one firm, can you talk about like the key kind of updates or improvements that could lead you to a level two firm?
Oh, what I would suggest is if you're not building a relationship with your clients, or your client, if you're not building a relationship, then you're going to fail.
Mm.
If you don't, if at night you're not thinking about them when you're sleeping, or you wake up in the morning, I wake up in the morning and, there's probably a couple of dozen clients that just shift through my head and problems that I need to solve for them. That makes me believe that I know I'm doing my job, because that is my job is to build a relationship, understand the pain points of my clients, and try to solve them, try to fix it. As far as investments, Ameriprise has some of the best research on the street, the best solutions. Nothing. I know it sounds like an Ameriprise commercial, but they don't push us to product of the day, or there's nothing that has an Ameriprise brand in the sense of, I have all these solutions that they do the due diligence on, and I say, okay, let me find the pain point of my client. What is their problem? Okay, I can go up and say, customize a solution for them to fix their problem. And that's really what I think the business is today. As far as AI, it's going to change the business dramatically, in the sense of, if you're just selling investments, you're going to be replaced with AI. That's, I was at the Forbes conference, the Forbes Top Advisor Conference in October, and that was really the buzzword, that AI will take over the money management end of the business. So you've got to develop that relationship. You've got to have the personal relationship. And I think anyone young starting out in this business, don't go it alone. Join a team. I know that's self-serving in what I'm saying, but that is the only way you're going to learn and build your practice, is joining a team. Like, I have clients now where I'm opening up their children. So we're bringing on another advisor that we're looking to hire. And anyone listening to this podcast, go to my website and I'll give you the information at the end, but apply. Those 20 somethings of the children of my clients are graduating college, they're getting good jobs, they're starting their lives. Obviously, I can't dedicate my time to a 20-something-year-old, but that 20-something-year-old is so important to our business, because 10 years from now, they're going to be 35, 45, 55. They're going to inherit this wealth. So we need someone that can speak their language, grew up with them, and really service those clients. And that's how a new person in this business is going to build their practice, is hitching their wagon to a larger practice, and really develop a practice within a practice, if that makes sense. And that's the way the whole pie grows.
Yeah, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. in terms of multi-generational clients, and then,
Yep.
having that succession plan in place. So, new clients, current clients, they're like, well, you seem to really enjoy golf and spending time with your family. How much longer are you going to be doing this? You're like, well, I'm going to do it as long as I feel like I can deliver it at an optimum level. And then my main person over here is going to, take
Exactly.
over. And they're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. I've got clients that call in and they'll know if they've got an issue, that we need to send money. We've got to make a car payment, a tuition payment. They're not calling me. They're like, all right, well, Matt or Phyllis will deal with that. If they've got an insurance issue, she's my insurance expert. Phyllis is a financial planning expert. Matt is pretty much the practice manager. So we're all client facing. And I think our clients at this point know, okay, when it comes to the annual review or the check-ins, yes, I do that. I'm in on that. But during the course of the year, their lives don't just happen twice a year. They happen every day. So they call in and we have a awesome team. And that is what we portray to our clients. They're hiring the entire team. And that's what we're looking to add another person. We've gotten to the level where that's the next level is continue to expand the business. A lot of my colleagues, their practice names or their last name, Mannino and Associates or something like that. I specifically titled my practice Wealth Planning Strategies to be agnostic, to say, hey, you could come in, join this practice, and have a practice within a practice.
Mhm.
You're an owner of wealth planning strategies.
Mhm.
So I think that's where our succession planning is fantastic.
Mhm. Awesome. Awesome. And it sounds like, you were the recipient of some exceptional mentoring, and you want to
Yes.
continue that tradition, and create win-win situations to give these folks, new people in the industry like a leg up, and then help them to make a practice within a practice within your practice. So all ships rise. So that makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense. Yeah.
that's important because I know how, I can literally give you 5 names that if it wasn't for these 5 people passing the baton from one to another, I would not be here today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
these people have, these individuals really changed my life for the better, and kind of guided me where I am today. So I would encourage anyone young getting into the business is you need to get yourself a mentor, somebody that's really just wants to not open accounts, take all your accounts, deal with your family and whatnot, and say, hey, give me all your aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, and that's not what this is about at all. It's
Hmm.
about coming on, being part of the team. I don't want to deal with your family because I know in five years from now, when you are at the level I believe you can be, your family will come to you, say, hey, what do you got going on? Why are you so successful? How can I be successful? People worship success. So
Hmm.
the first plan is to make that individual successful. And then their family will come to them and say, hey, what are you doing? Can you help me?
Yeah.
That's
There you
simple.
go.
I think
Yeah.
too many you know, people look at it from the other perspective.
Hmm. Yeah.
What can you do for me? It's not what you could do for me. It's what I can do for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to kind of flip the power dynamics as well. That's great. So, you're obviously, very well established in the industry. You've created a beautiful practice. You have a junior advisor. It sounds like you're looking for another advisor to bring on.
Yep.
How do you, as an established, um, you know, practice builder, find clients, and how do you help new advisors within your team find clients?
So it's basically through service your clients.
Hmm.
Um, so perfect example, like Today I have a 3 o'clock meeting. Gentleman, a client of mine who came on last year, is bringing his daughter. His
Mhm.
daughter is late 20s, early 30s, I believe. I actually don't even know at this point. Yeah, I think she's early 30s. Single, established, career oriented, and has some, significant, not significant money, but we'll see. That's my 3 o'clock appointment. That's how I'm going to grow. What am I going to do with that? So Phil is now, Matt has a practice within our practice. Phil is my next um uh person that I need to bring in and more take on some clients and service those clients. So she's going to sit in on this meeting. She'll be in on this meeting. She's going to work with this young woman, and that's how we're going to develop that relationship. Now, it's part of the team. So it's through referrals that we're growing. I won't do an event like I used to call them like a big steak dinner and just invite 20 people I don't know and hope to get one or two of those as clients.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And my clients, I don't necessarily shake them down for referrals. It's more, what can I do for you? And, if they're at a cocktail party or they're, throughout the holidays, we've gotten like 7 or 8 referrals just after the holidays, just in the first week alone, because people gathered for the holidays. They talked about our team and what we
Mhm.
do for them. And I don't think, maybe that's a secret we shouldn't tell anybody, but I don't think our advisors provide the service that so how do we grow our business? By being the best at what we do, providing the best service. I penned an article. One of the things I'm very passionate about is distribution rates. In retirement, you've got to be aware of how much you're distributing from your portfolio. So I call it, what is your DR? We wrote an article. It's something I find all the time and I talk about all the time. So work with media, Stephanie and whatnot. And I said, let's write. She said, write something you're passionate about. Well, this is what I'm passionate about. So I wrote the article. It got published on Morningstar and Market Watch. And one of my clients, and then we sent out the article to all of our clients. Um, we had the technology here at Ameriprise. We could do marketing on demand, it's called, and it kind of shoots out to all my clients. One of my clients' nieces, that she's been managing the portfolio for her because she's in assisted living and whatnot. She calls me up, the niece, says, "Oh, this is great. This is what I need. I'm getting ready to retire." And became a client, transferred over many 7 figures. Uh, so, that's how the business is growing. But we're just doing what we're passionate about, is
Mhm.
helping people. So that's how we're growing at this point, is through the great service we're providing, things we believe in, let the world
Mhm.
know about it, and everything else will flow. I think we'll be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, and it sounds like you definitely walk the talk there. So we'll be excited to keep watching you on this journey. We are coming towards the end of our time together. Unfortunately, I could definitely continue to ask you questions. You're a real sharp guy and tell a good story. So my final question for you is an open-ended question. You can take it in any direction that you like. And that question is, what are you working towards?
That's I listened to a couple of the podcasts, so I knew that question was coming. But succession. I want to make sure that there's, unfortunately, being in the business for 30 years and working with clients for such a long period of time, the reality is setting in on how fragile we are.
Mm-hmm.
And tomorrow morning it could be gone, and I could be taken away, and that's it. So I want this wealth planning strategies to continue well into the future. And so what is next is build a solid succession plan, continue to mentor advisors, bring them into this. Is a great business. My daughter, she's at the University of Tennessee. She interned with us over the summer. She loves the business. At a certain point down the road, she may come into it. So
Awesome.
what I love is this. I want to see this business 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years. I won't be here, but somebody will be at the helm. Wealth planning strategies will continue, will have its goals, will continue to help clients. And it'll be the individuals that work on the team or are part of the team will be people that I've mentored, and they have the same values. Our North Star is just integrity, trust, always do the right thing. Assets and money will always come if you take care of everything up front. You don't have to worry about all that stuff. You'll hit your goals. Just have your compass heading in the right direction. And so we've hit some accolades. We just were named Forbes best in state teams in Connecticut. And that really meant a lot to me because in the past, I've made it as an individual for the past 5 years, best in state in Connecticut. But this year was the team that made it. And I'm really thankful to them and that they have that accolade. I want to get them on the Barron's list. And those are just credentials that reinforce what we do, who we are, their industry, accolades that I want the team to have. So they know like what we're doing, we're really changing people's lives and we're helping people. So that's what the future holds. I would say if you wanted to be part of this team, we're currently interviewing for an individual to join us. And, you could go to my website, mywealthplanningstrategies.com, wealthplanningstrategies.com. Go on there, shoot me an email, send me your resume. Love to meet you. And look, anything I can do to help, shoot me a note and say, hey, Ross, what do you think about this? Even if you're happy where you are, but you're struggling, I'd be more than happy to give you some advice. And I think at this point I need to give back because I took so much. I need to give back. I received so much from my mentors and everybody who's helped me that I'd love to give back. So if you have a question or anything you need, shoot me an email.
Awesome. And we'll be sure to link that in the show notes. Russ, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me and my audience. You're a wealth of knowledge and proof that, hard work and integrity can get you where you want to go.
I appreciate that, Chris. Thanks for the opportunity. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. This was awesome. All right. And to all our listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in and keep on growing out there, everybody.